I'm not taking questions yet, bro. Continuing here, well, it turned into a free-for-all. Anyways, continuing here, you all know what, again, 5 years ago, did anybody anywhere know what BPA was, bisphenol A? Out of thousands of different plastic combinations that they could come up with a formulation, these big mega corporations more than 60 years ago standardized and had oil companies give incentives for the chemicals to base most of the plastics that you get water in or cook TV dinners in, you name it, in a chemical that leaches estrogen mimickers that accelerates puberty in women, gives them breast cancer, gives men prostate cancer. This is all admitted now. And feminizes men, hyperfeminizes women, reduces fertility in men and women. That's why you got 5-year-old girls going into puberty now. One of the big reasons is bisphenol A. First it was girls go at 14, then it was 11, then it was 10, then it was 9. And it's like, well, 6 is the new 14 now. And we're just, oh, that's completely normal. And I remember 5, 6, 7 years ago, I remember 15 years ago talking about bisphenol A with doctors I was having on. People were like, you're saying the government has a toxic chemical in my plastic. Let me tell you something. The FDA cares about me, and you're a liar. I used to get calls going, I'm calling the police. There's no, how could you be allowed on this local station? There's no way they'd be doing that. I'm like, okay, do you have a daughter, sir? Well, yeah. And she's in puberty at 10 years old. You're just angry that this happened. Don't be angry at me. Get her off of it. Because when these girls go to the doctor, or your son when he's 14, his testicles haven't dropped yet. I'm sorry to get gross there, but that's what's going on. The doctors say, we're going to give you these hormones to counterbalance this instead of telling you why you've got a problem. When breast cancer's up over 2,000%, the U.S. leads the world. Before it was almost unknown. Now it's like Christmas coming around. You got your breast cancer. I mean, I've got family with it. It's horrible. It's destroying us. And they never ask, hey, race for the cure. How about race for the cause? Because let me tell you, it's one thing when men in your family die, because they're men, it's sad they die. But man, it's horrible when women in your family, you know, or got people chopping on them and cutting on them or dying and been put in the ground because a bunch of pieces of murdering trash jacked them with a bunch of hormones to screw them up. That's why I hate the globalists. Because I'm constantly thinking about all the stuff they've done to me and the stuff they've done to you. And it's time for Judgment Day. It's time for men to stand up and say, I don't care what you do to me. I'm coming for you and I'm going to get you. So get ready. It's just time to decide. We're going to politically and intellectually stomp your New World Order into the ground, and we're going to start spreading the word. We're not going to even worry about results. We're going to start clobbering your ass. Excuse me. Almost a third of the way down one page. Continuing here. So, BPA, just in the last 5 years, you go to Walmart, Target, whatever the grocery store is, the bottles you buy at the store, it's, hey, we're BPA free. Oh, hey, we're Pyrex glass. Just 5, 6 years ago, they would do articles making fun of people saying it was a conspiracy theory. But actually, people actually went and read all the admitted literature. The universities, they're not all traitors. They're all scared. You know, Rob Dew's brother is a graduate student at a university in Texas to be a statistician. And whatever the demographic deal is where you study the elderly, what's that called? Geriatricus or whatever it is. But the point is, and he came over to be on the TV show because he'd taken public big Pew Research and other studies showing that Ron Paul was getting the least amount of media coverage and debates and negative coverage but was also a front runner, the poll showed, and a big index of those. And when he went back to graduate school a week later, they called him in and said, "You're not supposed to go out and talk in the media." And he said, "Well, this is a university. People go out who are graduate students and talk all the time." And they said, "We don't want you to. You want that PhD? This is America." And he said, "Well, why? I just went and showed statistics from another big study." And they said, "You're not going to stop any of it. You don't have any power." I mean, imagine the professor is so empty and so sold out. "I don't want you going on a TV show because I'm a control freak maggot." That's who we've got trying to tell us what we can say and do. How about shut up, you un-American, anti-human piece of trash, you shameful authoritarian that's so comfortable in your jackbooted thugism that you tell somebody they don't have a First Amendment? How about you shut up? How about you get out of our way? I mean, how much of this are we going to put up with when these control freaks get in our face and tell us what we can say and what we can do? I see these articles all the time where in the U.S., Canada, you name it, a child draws a picture of a gun and then they say, they go arrest the parents. There isn't even a law, and say, "Well, we had to, emergency situation. There might have been guns the kids could get to because the child drew an image of a gun." All of us here drew images of guns when we were a kid. It's all over TV. It's everywhere. You draw it. You draw everything. It's a thought crime. But the way the system is trying to sell us on this idea that our speech is bad. I see articles every few months where English students write fiction articles in school or even college, or historical, about gun battles or the Civil War, and the police are called. I mean, that's worse than 1984. This is what America is, where professors tell people, "You don't have free speech, shut up. Besides, you're not going to change any of it." It's this attitude by all these people that serve the system. They don't even like the system, but they have this attitude of, "You've got to give up like I've given up. You've got to roll over like I've done. You've got to be a horrible piece of garbage." The blueprint to defeat the New World Order is to stop listening to their con game that we can't be freer. Now, I covered some of the solutions and some of the victories we're having when I was on the radio, but going back to fluoride for a moment, all over Europe, all over England, all over the UK, all over Canada, all over the US, how many miles away is Tampa, Pinellas County? 90 miles from here. Tampa, Florida, beautiful city on the sea. That entire county, 1 million people. And they just brought in the government's own documents about fluoride being deadly poison. And they voted to stop paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to put toxic waste agents into the water supply. And it's happening all over the United States and Canada and Europe. And listen, you start going to city council and reading the EPA documents that are everywhere with their own scientists. 90+% of them 3 times have gone to Congress. They've gotten thousands of signatures of toxicologists, chemists, biologists saying this stuff is deadly poison. It's hundreds of chemicals under the name fluoride. It's devastating. Here's the reports of cancer, bone cancer. You take it to them and you say, "Listen, I'm not going to be smiled at and laughed at by you, okay? Just because the lobbyists come in here and pay you a chicken feed, $5,000 a year campaign mayor," this is on average they give them, to buy, in the case of Austin, $1 million plus a year. Just because they pay you $5,000, you give them $1 million of our dollars to put their toxic waste in our water. I take it real serious that I've got to go through all these precautions not to toxify my son and 2 daughters and my wife and myself. I don't think what you're doing is funny with all the bone problems and all of the early onset of joint disorders directly linked to fluoride. You stop laughing. I'm giving you a public tort, Mayor, right now that I'm going to sue you for forced medication. I'm going to sue you for racketeering, for money to do this. Don't you laugh at me, you little criminal. Listen, that's not some tough guy response. These are evil people getting paid to poison us. It's totally evil. Let me tell you, giving them a tongue lashing is nothing. They should go to prison for what they've done. I'm telling you, any crook that'll serve this system's a crook. And you start going to the bars they're at, record them. You start following them around. I mean, look, we're not playing games with these people, okay? These are criminals. These are scum. And I'll guarantee you, they're involved in other crime, not just the stuff they've made legal because they say so. It's time to get aggressive with them. It's time to shove cameras in their faces. It's time to say, stop killing us and robbing us, you little piece of trash.